Hi, I'm Adam with GYV, and I'm here to do a video on my top 5 mistakes to avoid when selecting your seeds so that you can enjoy the sweet success of great tomatoes and impress your friends and your family. Stay tuned to the end of the video for some bonus features about the variety of tomato plants that I'm growing in my garden that you just might want in your garden. Like always, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Seed selection could be pretty difficult, and sometimes it's really not that difficult at all. You can kind of avoid the whole what seed do I select, what do I plant, by just going to your big box store or your local nursery, and they already have transplants that they've already grown that probably will work just perfectly fine for your area that you live in. So you can kind of skip the headaches of trying to figure out which variety that you want to grow by just going there and picking them out. You can fall in love with tomatoes just like I did and all of our fellow gardeners out there that have, and realize that there's so many varieties of tomatoes that you can grow in your garden. There's something like over 3,000 different varieties of tomatoes to pick from, and those big box stores and those nurseries aren't going to carry all those varieties because they're only going to grow what sells. And typically you might run into about 4 or 5 different varieties between the grape tomatoes and the beefsteak tomatoes or the cherry tomatoes, and they might carry 1 or 2 of each variety depending on the season that you are walking into Home Depot or Lowe's or your local nursery to get those tomatoes. For me, where all the troubles begin is dreaming about all those sweet tomato plants that I'm going to grow in my garden, and looking at all those glossy, shiny seed catalogs that just magically appeared in your mailbox, and you start dreaming about every single one of those plants that you want to grow. That's where all the troubles start. And this video is really about how to avoid a lot of those troubles as well when dreaming up what tomatoes you want to grow. I love reading seed catalogs and saving the seed catalogs for enjoyment of reading them, because I really do dream about a lot of plants I would love to grow, and they're pretty cool. I actually brought a seed catalog out here to show you the ones that I have that I keep in my library, and so I have here the Harris seed catalog. Baker Creek are the 2 go-to ones that I enjoy the most. There's seed companies out there that grow seeds probably right there in your own backyard you don't even know about. So before you make your final decision, there's a lot of things you need to consider. Unless you want to just be like me and just go and just pick blindly everything that you liked and just kind of go willy-nilly on this thing and just see how it goes. You can do that as well, but this video is about avoiding those mistakes, and this is my top 5 mistakes to avoid when selecting your seeds for your garden. Mistake number 1, know your zone. I know that sounds pretty simple for a lot of you gardeners out there, but I know for me, when I first started growing, I was like, grow zone what? So this might be the easiest thing that you need to figure out before you select your seeds, and that's including any variety of plants that you want to put in your garden. So knowing your zone is important, and there's a couple easy ways for you to figure this out. So depending on where you buy your seeds, say if you buy your seeds from that big box store, some of those seed packs will even have the zone information on the back of the packets. But if you go online and you start exploring all the other seed providers like Baker Creek or Harris Seed Company, they do give you information on which zone that works best for your tomato seeds. I know growing in Florida, I'm going to be looking for pest resistance, fungus resistant, and especially heat resistant. It gets really hot here in Florida, so I know that I'm going to be selecting a variety that is good for my climate, for a lot of heat. But maybe in your neck of the woods, you're thinking more cold hardy varieties that would work well for you. So in doubt, you can always call the seed provider or even hit me up in the comments below, and I'll be happy to give you my opinion on which zone you're in and what variety you think you should grow. Mistake number 2, know your types. There are 2 primary types of tomato plants that are out there. you have your indeterminate and your determinate tomato plants. I know I might be talking a different language for you if you're a beginner gardener like I was, but real simply, a determinate plant, as it sounds with determinate, is that it will have a determined amount of tomatoes and a determined amount of growth that tomato plant's going to do. And then once it hits that point, it's done. You know, you might also just cut the tomato plant and get it out of your garden. But if you decide you want to grow indeterminate plants, then those will continue to grow as long as the conditions, the growing conditions that you have, it will grow big, it will grow wide, and indeterminates do require more support, so trellising, tomato cages, poles, they even have the strings where you can strap your tomatoes to that, versus the indeterminate still requires some support depending on what variety you have. I know they have the smaller types, the dwarf type of tomato plants. They only grow so tall as well, and those don't really require much support, maybe one bamboo stake. So that's the difference between the two. So mistake number 2, know your types. Mistake number 3, know your space. Know how much area that you're going to grow in prior to making your decision on what type of seeds, from the determinate to the indeterminate. I know for me, like most gardeners, you probably grow outside most of it, and you start your seeds outside like I do. But in the winter months, I'll start my seeds in the shed with a heat mat and grow lights. But if you're one of those lucky people out there that have a hoop house with grow lights and you can grow indoors, man, I am really jealous. But there's varieties that you guys pick from that an outdoor grower wouldn't choose. I know when I first started growing the tomatoes, I started with a container garden, and it grew to about 40 15-gallon pots of tomatoes before I made a decision to move into an in-ground garden like the one you see here next to me. So when you're thinking about space of what you're going to grow, this is the best way to keep your seed spending budget in check, because there's a lot of seeds that come into those packets, and you could really buy more seeds than you know what to do with. I know for myself, I probably have at least 10 years worth of tomato seeds, not including all the other seeds that I have in my seed cabinet at my house. So keep that in mind, what your space is. If you're going to pick a determinate or indeterminate tomato plants, I know I like to plant my tomatoes about 2 to 3 feet apart, but I do crowd bind sometimes, but 2 to 3 feet apart is a good starting point for your tomato plants. There's no law on exactly how you should plant your tomatoes, how far apart. Just have fun, and every year, trust me, it gets better and better. Mistake number 4, know your season. Know which season you're growing in, so that you don't go out and start buying a bunch of seeds during the winter months before the new catalogs get put out there, those really nice, glossy, full color catalogs that Baker Creek and all the other seed companies do, like Harris Seed Company. They always have new varieties out, and you don't want to miss out. So if you go and you buy a bunch of seeds and then you realize the new catalog came out with a new variety or something cool that you didn't see, and you missed out on that variety, or you blew your budget and you bought more seeds. Nothing like having a bunch of seeds that you can't plant or not enough space to grow them in, and you wind up saving them to the next year, and those catalogs show up again and there's another new variety, and you start dreaming about all those great tomatoes that you want to grow, and your collection of tomato seeds can definitely grow out of control. I know mine has. So know your grow season, and that's really it. Mistake number 5, the final mistake when selecting your tomato seeds, is to know the difference between what a heirloom seed is and a hybrid seed. Now, just because they have a heirloom seed doesn't mean it's organic, and the same thing for the hybrid. Organic is really based upon the conditions that the seed was produced in. So you can have heirloom organic, or you can just have heirloom, and the same thing for hybrid. Now, heirloom is seeds from the past that have been preserved and saved and passed down to generations, and those are really important to get involved in, because preserving the past is just as important as the future. So I would encourage to grow heirloom seeds. I like to have a variety of heirloom versus hybrid in mine. You know, what's great about hybrid seeds is that they've been cross-pollinated to have characteristics that fight off diseases, fungus, and pests that you may have in your area that's specific to you. So I want you to have as much success in growing your tomato plants as I do, and as much enjoyment that you can possibly have. So just because it's heirloom, those seeds do have good characteristics too. You just got to figure out which ones grow well in your area. I mean, I know there's a lot more hybrid seeds out there that are more adaptable to different climates. So just pick what you feel is right for you and your family. And if you want to grow organically or not, that's completely up to you. I like to have a balance and try to grow as cleanly as possible when I can, and just have fun with it. So know your different types of tomato seeds and make the best decision you can. And I hope you have a really great time growing these tomato plants, and I hope I was able to teach you the difference in this video. So well, thank you everybody. This is Adam with GYV, and I want to say thank you again, and stay tuned for some more videos. Happy gardening, everybody. Oh yeah, I forgot the bonus feature of this video I did. I want to show you all the variety of tomato plants that I'm growing in here in my garden, and that you might want to grow in yours. So if you're just happen to be watching this video and you're in zone 10 like I am, so far my tomato plants are doing great, and you might want to grow the same one. So let me grab this camera and I'll show you what's growing on in my garden. All right, well here's my first tomato plant I want to show you, and I label all my tomato plants. This is the Ann Russin. And I found out about this tomato plant. It's a heirloom style tomato plant, and I found it in a book. Boy, I am drawing a blank right now on the book that I found it in, but there's a lot of history behind this tomato plant as well, if you want to look it up on the internet. All right, this is Dad's Sunset Tomatoes. You can find this one on rareseeds.com. This is one of the first tomatoes that I ever grown. And what's special about this tomato plant is my daughter picked it out because she said it reminds me of her dad, and I will definitely be growing this one every year. And these are this one was from seeds that I saved from the first time I grew. And over here I have some brandywines. I don't really remember which seed company I bought those from. They look pretty well. And then over here is the Evil Olive tomato, and I'm pretty sure I got that one from Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company. So that is a grape variety. I'm sorry, I don't think it's a grape, but it's a smaller tomato, and you can imagine by the name of it, it's probably gonna be pretty evil, and I'm pretty sure it's indeterminate. And this one is a really popular one. I'm sure a lot of people are growing it. I absolutely love these tomatoes on this plant. So this is the Brad's Atomic tomato plant, and these are from seeds that I saved, and I would highly recommend growing this one. It is just awesome. It is an indeterminate. As you can see, I don't have any supports anywhere on these tomato plants just yet, but I will when it comes time. And absolutely awesome plant, and tomatoes are amazing. All right, so let's move it on. It's another Dad's Sunset tomato, and another Dad's Sunset tomato. So you know, you can tell I really enjoy growing those. It means a lot to me. This one is a Snapper tomato plant, picked up from Heirloom Seed Company. I'm sorry, Harris Seed Company, and I have two of them here. I believe it's an indeterminate, a medium-sized tomato, like 8 to 12 ounce tomatoes. And Jet, there's 2 Jet tomato plants there, also from Harris Seed Company, another indeterminate. Polish is an indeterminate heirloom seed. And these two right here are called Candy. And I believe they're Candy grape tomatoes. And I picked them up from Heirloom. I'm sorry, I keep mixing this up. I picked them up from Harris Seed Company. And I'm really excited to see how these things go. Based on what it said in that really glossy, fancy catalog of theirs, that these were some of the sweetest grape tomatoes on the market. A lot of the farmer market people that are growing are producing this. So I'm really excited about those. And then here's an overview of the garden. There's my camera. And snap peas and my cucumbers are doing awesome. All right, thank you everybody for watching my video about the 5 mistakes to avoid when selecting your tomato plants. And I hope you really enjoyed this video, because this one I put a lot of work into. And if you liked it, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. So thank you, and stay tuned for more uploads from GYV.